Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. My name is Steve Cooper. You're watching In Deep on the Delta. I am here on the California Delta. It's midsummer, and today we're going to talk about what has to be the most common phrase that you hear from anglers that are fishing here on the Delta through the summer months. What is that phrase? Hey, I'm catching a ton of fish, but I can't put a decent fish in the boat. Any weekend angler can come to the California Delta through the summer months and pull 20, 30, 40 fish in a day. But getting those fish over about 3 pounds gets tough. So what have I done for this video? I've contacted some of my more notable Delta anglers, and we're talking about a slew of folks that are some of the top tournament anglers, guides, bait makers. Heck, I even had to call my old buddy, legend, Allan Fong. I had to have Allan weigh in on this. So we've got some big sticks that are going to be talking about how to catch bigger fish. And what I did was I contacted all these guys and said, guys, I want separately, so none of these guys know what anyone else said. I contacted them all separately and I said, I need 3 quick suggestions on how a weekend angler can come out and hopefully maybe start sifting through some of the small fish and catch the bigger fish. I wanted 3 physical things that they can do. And I also asked them a bonus question on what they think of or how they mentally approach coming out here and looking or head hunting for those big fish. So if you are a member of this small fish club, this is going to be the video for you. And believe me, I am not only a member of the small fish club, I could be the president of, I gotta watch how I say this, the Small Fish Club. So let's sit down, take a gander at what the big sticks do when they're looking to catch big fish. Let's check it out. So let's talk about catching bigger fish here on the California Delta, how we can reasonably maybe put together a plan to come out here and start upgrading from some of these 12 and 13 inch fish to maybe 3 and 4 pound fish. It's not going to happen overnight, but I think when you hear what other successful anglers do to catch bigger fish, it helps you. It gives you a starting point. And today we're going to be getting ideas from Christian Ostrander, from Joey Price, Allan Fong, Nick Canamoto, Coach Ted, Rob Cloutier from out at the Bass Hole. These are not my suggestions on what I look for. These are suggestions from some of the top anglers on the Delta, high-level anglers. So again, I asked them all the same questions. None of them heard the answers from the other guys. They're going to give you 3 short suggestions on how to physically go out and things to do, things to look for to get those bigger fish. And then they're going to talk about how they mentally prepare, maybe when they're out at a tournament and they need that one big fish, or you know, they're stuck in that, geez, 30, 40, 50 fish a day and they can't get the bigger fish. They're going to tell you mentally how they prepare to get out here. Now, what you're going to see is a number of different angles. All of these anglers don't always do the same thing all of the time. And what else I think you're going to find that will be interesting out here is that as we go through this, and I'm going to put this all together at the end of the video, a lot of the answers, you're going to see some common threads. And that's what I think we really need to focus on. You talk to 6, 8, 10 guys out here, and they're all good sticks, and they're all saying a lot of different things, but some of the same things. You got to put those same things together and think, all I need to do is think about those few things, and maybe I can start catching some bigger fish. So with that, let's start off with our first, I'll say, panel guest, and we're going to start off with Allan Fong. I think most of you guys know Allan. If you don't know Allan, maybe you're a tournament guy that just started fishing out here a couple years ago. Allan doesn't fish a lot of tournaments anymore, but Allan is a legend out here. In my opinion, he is the #1 guy when it comes to multi-species fishing, whether it's striper, sturgeon, salmon, bass. And Although he doesn't fish a lot of bass tournaments, he is one of the best big bass hunters on the Delta. And for all of you guys that are fishing tournaments, I think you all ought to shake Allan's hand for not fishing them, because if he was fishing tournaments, I guarantee you that Allan would be taking a lot of money from you guys. So with that, what does Allan do when he needs to catch bigger fish? And by the way, Allan from Sacramento, he's fishing a lot up north, Sacramento River, Liberty, all the little tributaries, Steamboat, Elk, all those sloughs up there. That's his home water. So what does he do in the midsummer? He looks for wood and he looks for current. He says the big fish always come and want that wood as far as structure. So he's looking for wood and current. He's looking for shade and mats. Water temperatures generally rise during the summer, so he's looking for places that he can punch. Claims that generally under those mats the water temperature can be as much as 2 or 3 degrees cooler. So punching is a good method as far as Allan is concerned through midsummer, getting in that shade and getting your baits where the water's a little cooler, the fish are probably a little more active. Third thing, pick the right mats, the right places, the right pieces of wood, and we're going to talk about this as we go through this. Picking the right spots, whether it's a mat to punch on, whether it is structure, whatever. Small isolated mats are what Allan likes to go after. His mental approach: follow your instincts. You can't think about what other people say and try to reproduce what they do, at least when it comes to choosing baits and maybe techniques. You got to take your strong points and follow your instincts. So that's what Allan Fong had to say. Fish the wood, fish the current, look for places that have shade under mats, water temperatures are cooler. Punching is always a good idea in the summer, and pick the right mats. And again, we're going to go over that next. Not next, but at the end of the video. Next, we have Christian Ostrander. If you are out here fishing the Delta, you know Christian. All of you tournament guys know Christian. Young guy, I think he's 27 now, but he's been out here for 7 or 8 years. The number of tournaments that Christian has won in that time is double digits. I don't know how many. I know he won a boat a couple months ago, and just double-digit tournament wins. He knows how to find big fish. Christian is also a guide out here. So what does Christian say? During the summer months, you have to slow down. Slow down. That's number one. Next, second thing, he's either going with really big baits or really small baits. So he's in a tournament, he's got 18 pounds, he's got an hour and a half to fish, the tide's right, the tide's not right. What is he going to do to get that 7 or 8 pounder to put him in the winner's circle? He's going to go with either a really big bait or a really small bait. Now, number 3, if you're looking for fish throughout the day, 3 pounds and up, fish under mats. Heard that before. So slow down, go really big, go really small, or fish under mats. Mental outlook: don't look for a go-to bait. Fish your confidence baits. You can catch a big fish on a chatterbait, you can catch a big fish on a frog, you can catch a big fish on a worm, you can catch a fish punching. So when you are looking for that big fish, don't go out and try numerous baits. Go out and try to get in there and use your confidence baits. So that's what Christian Ostrander said. Next, we're going to hear what Rob Cloutier has to say. Rob is the owner of the Bass Hole Tackle Shop. He's fishing quite a few tournaments, but you know, Rob started out coming up here on the Delta as a very serious tournament angler. He won a lot of tournaments. He's not getting out to fish as many of them. I know recently he won, I think last year he won the Big Fish, what used to be the Canamoto Big Fish tournament. I know he won a boat the year before. He's still pretty darn good when it comes to catching fish, big fish, and he's sitting in the shop all day listening to other people who are catching big fish. So what does Rob say? Maybe try a new bait. Think out of the box. If your baits aren't catching bigger fish, think out of the box and try a new bait. Of course, Rob is a shop owner, but that's what Rob says. Try something new. Number 2 would be fish deeper. Number 3 is fish slower. That's starting to come up a little bit too. His mental being mentally prepared, Rob is saying just be prepared to grind. You're not going to catch as many fish when you're looking for the big fish, especially when you're fishing slow and deep. The bites don't come quite as often, but they will be bigger fish. So that is what Rob had to say about it. Next, let's go to my buddy Coach Ted. Ted lives on the river. He keeps his boat in the water. He fishes 3, 4, 5 days a week. He's been out here for about 15 years, and Ted's another one of those guys that doesn't do a lot of tournament angling. He is just a dedicated Delta rat. He's out here, and Ted catches big fish, and he's someone that's been on the show, and he's an out-of-the-box thinker, and he goes out and he is very looks at this water very articulately, and he is an out-of-the-box thinker, I'll tell you. So what's Ted's 3 suggestions? Bigger baits. He likes throwing bigger baits for bigger fish. He's also looking for current. Pass-throughs with deeper water, Tule Islands, breaks and banks, where current of any type comes through. He wants to fish in and around current. That's starting to reappear a couple times. Then also Ted suggested something that I would suggest if I was answering this question: fish the AM and the PM change a light bite. Those are the 3 things that Coach Ted is talking about. What's his mental approach? Fish only baits you have confidence in. Fish are confidence baits. Don't go out and try to reinvent the wheel. That's starting to reappear here a little bit also. So that's Coach Ted's idea. How about Joey Price? Joey Price is a full-time guide out here. I think Joey must fish 150 days a year out here guiding. He's also a very good tournament angler. He just came back from a win for the snag-proof frog tournament. He's won a lot of tournaments out here, and Joey catches a lot of big fish. So his 3 suggestions: stop throwing at the bank and throw to specific targets. Please remember that one, because we're going to revisit that in here in just a minute. Stop throwing at the bank, throw at specific targets. Number 2, keep it simple, don't get crazy and go out and buy every bait that is on the market. Yeah, it's a little departure from what Rob said, but what he's saying is you want to fish your standard baits, the known fish catchers, or your confidence baits. That's another thing that keeps reoccurring. The other thing Joey says, as far as mentally, he sees a lot of folks that go out, and especially during tournaments, they're trying to fish against other anglers. And when you're coming out to look for those big fish, or you're in a competition of any kind, you are fishing against the Delta. And think of it not as fishing against other anglers, but think about it as you against the Delta, and make it that type of a battle. So that's what Joey says. All right, last but not least on this is my buddy Nick Canamoto. Most of you guys know Nick out here. Him and his brother Thomas have been tournament fishing partners. They're bait makers. They have been out here all their life. Their father was out here all of his life. They learned how to fish this area at a very early age. Excellent tournament anglers, and just some of the top sticks on the river here. So what's Nick saying? He said, look for current. Isolated current. That's number 1. Number 2, he likes punching, and he likes to find mats with current. See some things starting to come together here. And number 3, this is another thing that I would highly recommend: fish reaction topwater baits, buzz baits, whopper ploppers, things that move fast, things that are going to make fish react rather than finesse that big fish in. You want to make that big fish get mean, and just, find a bait that he's hitting out of reaction, not that he's going to come up and try to sniff around on it, and you're going to try to put that fish in the boat through finesse. So that is Nick's answers. And as far as a mental philosophy, you have to force yourself to fish 2 or 3 of your confidence baits. Don't fish a lot of baits. Fish the 3 confidence baits that you know, and stick to those. Stick to your guns. So with that, we've heard a lot of what some of these guys have to say, and some of them are talking about the same thing, but they are saying it in a different way. I think mentally the first thing we have to put together is, number one, come out, know you're not going to get as many bites as you would normally get, but slow down, fish deeper, and just be ready to work at it. Stay on your own game, follow what you think should be happening, and just grind it out. That's the mental situation, and it's one of the hardest things to do, but it's one of the easiest things to do. Just get tough. That's all I can say. Get tough and grind it out, slow down, and work at it. Now, there's two things that, if you were listening close, that really all of these guys talked about in one way or another. One, you want to fish around current. The other one, you want to fish around structure, especially mats, which kind of leads to punching or frogging. So with that, I can talk about punching, for hours, and we can talk about current for hours. So before I get into this any farther, what this part of the video has done for me is it's giving me food for thought for my next two videos. So in the next video, which will, if you're unfamiliar with the channel, I usually drop videos every Tuesday about 4 p.m. out here on the West Coast time. I'm going to talk about current, and I will go through, because here's the deal. These guys are all talking about current and fishing current, but for somebody that is not out here a whole lot and doesn't know a lot about currents, maybe you fish lakes a lot, maybe you've never fished the Delta, current is a hard thing to understand. Current and tides do everything from clean water, help to clean the water. If it's a strong current, they can cut ledges, or they can cut channels, make the water a little deeper. Usually where current is, you have a little better water quality. It could have a little more oxygen. It could be a little cooler. The pH may be a little better. So current does a lot of things, and you have to understand where that current is coming from, what it's doing, and what it does to rock banks, what it does to Tule Islands, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to talk about everything that I know about dealing with current, and I'm also going to talk about, as you're dealing with that current, what current normally does is it attracts fish, and once it attracts fish, it pushes them into small boxes. They come because of the current. They don't stay because of the current. They stay because there is some type of bait or cover that they can come to the current, feed in, and then move into their comfort zones. So we're not only going to talk about current, but we're going to talk about those small little areas that, as these fish are drawn to the current, where they hide, where they stay, where those prime targets are. Joey Price said, you can fish the bank, but you have to fish targets, and that is so important. When you find current, you just don't go out and look for where the current is and throw in the current. You find the areas that are going to hold fish near that current. So we'll talk about everything there is to talk about when it comes to fishing currents. The next thing we need to talk about that was a common thread was fishing under mats or surface vegetation, and that leads to punching. So what I want to do in maybe not next week's video, but the week after, I'm going to talk about punching, and there is so much information on setup and rigging and everything you can do when it comes to punching. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'll give you my one simple punch rig. I'll give you a couple of very down-to-earth, easy tips when it comes to punching. But what I want to spend most of my time on is talking about what to punch. When you come out on the Delta and you see a mile of surface vegetation, you're thinking, where do I punch? Where do I start? Where do I stop? Do I punch this? Do I punch the small stuff? How deep should I fish? Should I look for current when I'm punching? How much weight do I need to use? All of this comes into play. So I am going to, when I talk about fishing under mats and punching, I'm going to talk about how to be real specific and look for the prime targets. The places where you don't have to spend a whole lot of time figuring it out, where you can come in, bang, 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 pick up a fish, not pick up a fish, you go to the next spot. We're going to talk about how to get really efficient when it comes to finding your punch water and just fishing the good stuff. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching, and remember, I'm not trying to be a know-it-all here, because I'll tell you once again, I'm not just a member of the Small Fish Club. Oftentimes, I am overly qualified to be the president of the Small Fish Club. So with that, thanks for watching. Remember, next couple weeks we got a video coming out on current, finding the places where the fish hold in current, and we'll also talk about fishing mats the week after. Thanks for watching. Good luck. See you guys out on the river.